All right, everyone. Well, on this episode of Low Tech Garage, we are starting the C2 Corvette build. So we did a brief intro on this a couple days ago, and yeah, today we're going to start tearing into the old chassis, pulling out the parts we don't need and saving the parts we do need, and getting ready to get them cleaned up and moved over to the new chassis over there. So just a quick recap. This is a 64 Corvette chassis, and not in terrible shape. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen worse. Got your regular small block in here, powered by the infamous Power Glide. But what the eagle eye folks might see is actually this has some pretty nice suspension on the front. So some pretty nice looking control arms, disc brakes, big sway bar like this. And we've even got rack and pinion steering lurking underneath here as well. As we move to the back, see a very nice rear suspension setup. One nice touch are these lower control arms that notch in to allow for a bigger tire. So as you can see, there's a lot of good components on here that we just need to remove, clean, make sure that they get installed on the new frame. And yeah, we'll be off to the races with this thing. We have been able to get the new big block frame on stands ready for assembly. So I think my plan of action is start with the powertrain here, as it's actually not going to be reused, and work on basically getting the drive shaft out, then get the motor, transmission, motor. You get the idea. We're going to get the crane on this and lift it all out of the way so we have the rolling chassis with just the suspension to work on. So with that, let's get started. All right, so update time. I've been doing a lot of little bits and pieces on the frame, prepping basically to get the engine removed. So let me show you what I've got done here. So we're going to start at the back. Not too much to report here yet, but some things we did. Come down here, you can see we've disconnected the brake lines right here and right here. Really with the idea of just getting all the brake fluid out. And then as we move backwards, you can see the parking brake has been removed so that basically this can come out as much of an assembly as possible. And the real obvious thing, the little drive shaft is now missing. And we've been able to drain some of the fluid out of the old Power Glide here. So when we get to the front, a little more action. Similar story with the brake lines. So undone here, undone here. Also removed the transmission cooler and undid the line from the frame. It's just been letting that drain out in the pan here. Also, this has power rack and pinion, so actually this pump is no longer connected. Again, really with the idea of when we lift the motor, that will stay in place. And the last piece, obviously, the little down pipes that were here and on this side for the exhaust have also been removed. So a lot of that's been pretty boring and tedious, but the goal here really is to prep to get the engine crane ready. And then when Josh comes over here, we're going to lift the motor and transmission out, and that'll give us a true rolling chassis. All right, we are back on the Corvette today, and the goal is to get this engine out. So as you remember, we've been stripping down the frame, trying to get all the good suspension components off, and kind of strip this frame down so we can get it moved out of the way. So let me update you on where we're at. So first and foremost, you can see we're on jack stands at the back and managed to get the wheels off. And as we come down here, the eagle-eye viewers will see there is no more engine and transmission. So here it is. I wrangled this out with the crane cherry picker myself earlier this morning. So I got a time lapse of me struggling to do that, but it is now out and on some dollies so we can move it around. Basically, this is going to be rehomed after the project as we have a new motor and transmission that's going in over here. So next steps today, probably lower the front down again. I'm going to try and get these wheels off. The knockoff spinners have proven to be a little challenging on the front, but I got some other stuff with me today and I think that'll be fine. From there, we're going to start kind of tackling these new suspension components. So the goal will be to get them undone, removed from the car successfully, ready to be cleaned and detailed so that they can look like brand new going onto the chassis over here. And similarly, we're going to do the same on the back. So a little unsure on how far I'm going to get today, but I'm definitely going to try and make a lot of progress. The teardown usually goes pretty smoothly, but not sure what we're going to find. And there's going to be a lot of cleaning, just some prep work, so this thing looks like brand new when it goes on the new chassis. So I'm going to get to work on this, and I'll update everyone as I make more progress. So I thought I'd take a pause from the time lapse and show you guys what I've just got done here, a little bit more progress. So firstly, you can see the wheels are off. A little brute force with a block of wood and a 3-pound mallet, and the spinners did come off. So that's great. Reason being, like we said, this has a nice new suspension setup. Nice disc brakes, really nice setup on here. And just for doing the transfer over to the new chassis, it's nice to just have the access here to get the bolts. You may also notice that I've been able to get the rack and pinion out. So that has now been removed here, and I'll show you what it looks like. So this is our ever-growing pile of parts, but here you can see we have this really nice rack and pinion that's power assisted with a Saginaw pump. So this is all pretty good. I'm just going to give it a nice clean before it gets transferred to the new chassis. So I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do next. I'm tempted to tackle that gas tank right there and just get it out. We're unsure if we're going to reuse it or not. It looks fine inside, but it is kind of gross on the outside. So we'll leave that up to the owner, but we will pop it off the chassis for now. But basically, I'm getting down to the last bits where we're going to have to remove the front suspension and the rear so that it's ready to be transferred over. This does have the leaf spring that goes side to side. So this is my first time working with one of these. So just want to make sure that I release the tension on that before dropping these control arms. Anyway, I'm going to put the time lapse back on and keep working. And yeah, we'll be back soon. So a little more progress. Been doing a little more on the front suspension. So let me show you guys what I've got done here. So basically you can see I got the upper control arms disconnected. And actually when we come down here, you can see the lowers are no longer connected either. And I kind of have the main assembly just resting on my jacks and a piece of wood here and here. The only piece I have right now is the shocks right here. They're still in like the pocket on the top here and here. But Josh is coming over in a few minutes, and so I'm going to lift the frame, and then we can wheel this kind of towards us and get the whole assembly out. And the last kind of piece here, I did remove the gas tank. Um, Undecided what we're going to do with it yet. It's not terrible, but there is some sediment in there, and this thing over here is going to be so nice. If the owner wants, probably put a new tank. We're already doing new fuel lines, so just so it's all perfect for them with the new motor. But you can see removed here. So really all that's left is the rear suspension and cradle, obviously the hard lines for the brakes, and then just wheeling this out. But then we're pretty close. So really the goal for today is let's see if we can get that back suspension out. Really the idea is that we can have this old chassis stripped completely down of the components that we need, and then probably stand that up against the wall or something like that just to give us a little extra space in here because we don't have a very big shop. And then probably get the new frame moved over a little bit and start cleaning that. And then there's going to be a process of just going through all the components, cleaning them, prepping them. Are there any hardware items like that that need to be replaced or updated, and start building up the new chassis? So needless to say, I've been pretty happy with the progress so far. When Josh gets here, we'll film a little bit more, but I think we can wrap this video up today with a completely stripped down chassis. So we're going to keep at it, and yeah, we'll update you soon. Okay, so we are back. We have made a lot of progress. Josh was able to come over here and give me a hand, and let me show you where we've got. So here it is, completely stripped down, 64 Corvette convertible frame. So yeah, the rear cradle is out, just on the jack, ready to be moved. And then you guys can see if we come all the way here, the front suspension is now pulled out in front of the car, ready to get cleaned, serviced, and ready for reassembly. So, kind of look now. We've got the lovely new powder-coated big block frame, and maybe the not so nice and definitely old original frame here. So next up, we're going to move one of these frames outside and shuffle some things around. Josh is going to keep dancing in the background, and we are going to get ready for reassembly. So we'll be back when we just have the one frame in here, and we'll give you an update then. All right, well, that about wraps it up for the day. We got the whole chassis torn down. We have the new one right here behind me, ready for the reassembly. So thank you all for following along today. If you like this build, definitely subscribe and hit that like button. There's going to be a lot more content on this over the next few weeks as we turn this chassis around for our friend. And you know, it really helps our channel too. Our next goal is to get to 5,000 subscribers, so we're just cranking away here, and any support we can get from everyone is greatly appreciated. We will be posting shorts, and you know, if you follow us on the other socials, check that out as well. But otherwise, until the next one, we'll see you soon.